a lot of people were wondering, how's Fox News going to react to the Zimmerman verdict? Well, it appears that throughout the weekend and on Monday, it was with absolute glee. Now, first, we had Geraldo Rivera. Now, he's trying to justify what he said back in the day, and apparently he's sticking with it, about how Trayvon might have appeared dangerous for wearing a hoodie. Now, if you saw the unfortunate picture of Trayvon lying dead, part of the reason we showed it to you last week is because we wanted to show you what he actually looked like. He had a hoodie as in a sweatshirt. It wasn't some sort of weird hoodie from the hood. It's exactly the kind of sweatshirt I have. He was wearing khakis that were rolled up. I don't understand how he looked menacing at all, right? But Geraldo, unbowed, continues here, making similar points. Watch.
First of all, why did the encounter start? Didn't the encounter start because there had been a series of break-ins and robberies in the community? That's why he was a neighborhood watch captain. The neighbors, white, black, and brown, appreciated George Zimmerman's activities in keeping them safe. Didn't Trayvon Martin, wasn't he a stranger in the community? Didn't he look in the 7-Eleven surveillance video? I am so sorry this happened. I am so upset for these parents now, and they go home and they get no justice. But sometimes awful things happen to nice people. It happened here. I think the cautionary tale, shouldn't we, if we want to really remediate what happened here, first of all, should we say we have to say there's no winners here, but we have to also have to tell our children to avoid these kind of confrontations whenever you possibly can.
Now, to be fair to Geraldo, he's not part of the glee because at least he has the decency to mention, hey, what happened was awful, right? Now, to analyze the rest of what Geraldo said there, he said, look, he was a stranger to the community. No, he wasn't. His father lived there. He'd been at that community for years. Witnesses say, yeah, of course, he's a kid that used to come visit his father, and he's been doing it for years. What's the stranger part? Maybe he was a stranger to Zimmerman, because he doesn't associate with those kind of people. You know what I mean, right? I mean, why was he a stranger to Zimmerman? Why was he a stranger to that community? I mean, if it was a white kid who came to see his parents and he did it for years on end, would anybody say he was a stranger to that community? Why would you say that? That doesn't make any sense. Then he says you have to teach your kids to avoid confrontation like that. But he didn't stalk Zimmerman. He didn't go out looking for the fight. Zimmerman stalked him. I don't know what to tell my kid. If somebody stalks them and picks a fight with them, every parent knows this. I mean, put aside the gun and race and all that stuff. This is the biggest fear all parents have. If there's a bully and he confronts your kid, what are you supposed to tell him? Fight back? Run away? You don't know what to tell him. But it ain't the kid's fault. And of course, this was not like any other bully and not like any other case. The kid was shot dead. But yet we continue, or at least certainly Fox News continues to find ways to blame the victim. More from Geraldo.
And all the criticism I got was saying about this youngster, you dress like a thug, people are going to treat you like a thug. That's true. I stand by that. Even in my own family, I got grief behind that. But that's the reality. You don't send your kids into the rainy night and then have them walking back alleys in troubled neighborhoods and expect a good result.
He wasn't walking in a dangerous neighborhood. He was walking in his neighborhood. It was a gated community. So he can't walk in his own neighborhood? How the hell is he supposed to get his dad's house? Who says to a white kid, hey, don't walk in your own neighborhood? Who says to them, don't go to your parents' house? What back alleys? He didn't take any back alleys. And how could you say he was dressed like a thug? I don't even wear khakis. Khakis like that. If you saw a guy wearing khakis the way Trayvon had, if you saw the shoes Trayvon had, and again, we showed it on here on the Young Turks specifically for that reason. I don't want to keep showing his dead body over and over again. And you saw the sweatshirt that he had on. You put that on a white 17-year-old kid, he could have been at a yacht club. Now, the reality is he's there in a perfectly lovely neighborhood that might have had some robberies, but if it was a white kid, you wouldn't say, well, there was robberies in the neighborhood, so obviously I shot the first white kid I saw. Or I stalked the first white kid I saw, I started a fight with him, and then I shot him. Nobody would use that as an excuse. So when you put all that together, what's the real rationale for them calling Trayvon Martin a thug, saying he was in a wrong neighborhood, which is his neighborhood? it's because he's black. But if you're black, apparently there is no right neighborhood. It doesn't matter even if you live in the nice neighborhood. Apparently the color of your skin and any mild excuse. I'm surprised they haven't gone to, oh, did you see the way he wore his khakis? Very gangster of him. Which, by the way, I don't know how you're supposed to wear it. And it wasn't. It wasn't like it was. Now look at this. See, that's the thing, right? They've got me trying to defend how he wore his khakis. He wore them perfectly normal, above the belt, etc. But now we're picking apart every single thing Trayvon did. When he's not the aggressor, he was the one that's killed. It makes it seem like Trayvon killed Zimmerman. It was the reverse. If you want to look for a thug, how about the guy who chased down the 17-year-old and shot him in the chest? But nobody calls him a thug on that side. I haven't seen any right-winger, I haven't seen any Fox News call Zimmerman a thug. Gee, I wonder why. Now Tucker Carlson can't leave well enough alone. He's got to throw in his own, 2 cents here on racial stereotypes. And he's like, well, we're at it. We're smearing a dead kid. Let's just smear more African Americans.
I am positive that people like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton do not deserve to be called civil rights leaders. They are not. They are hustlers and pimps who make a living off inflaming racial tensions. They know nothing about this. They're not residents of Florida. They don't represent anybody. They're not elected to anything. They don't have constituencies. And the only reason they are allowed to do this is because we in the press enable them by calling them civil rights leaders.
Jesse Jackson walked in every civil rights march there was when we went through the civil rights era with Martin Luther King, John Lewis, and all of them. You can argue if he was the 3rd most influential or the 5th most influential in that movement. What, you want to put him as the 12th most influential? If Jesse Jackson is not a civil rights leader, who the hell is? And by the way, it's easy to say Martin Luther King, now he's dead. If Martin Luther King was still alive, what do you think Fox News would do to him? They'd call him just what they're calling Jesse Jackson now. And it's not a coincidence or an accident that he used the words hustlers and pimps. JR made a great point. I watched that. I didn't even catch the hustlers and pimps. I'm so used to it on Fox News. He said, when's the last time a white guy was called a hustler or a pimp? And Al Sharpton, you know me. It's well documented that I got no love for Al Sharpton, right? But here was the one time he did something great, man. He shined a light on injustice. And he was worried about a 17-year-old kid who got shot there. And why is that a hustler or a pimp? Who's the prostitute, the dead kid? What are we talking about here? I mean, look at the ugliness oozing out of Fox News as they talk about a kid who's been shot dead. No sense of respect, at least from Tucker Carlson, at all.